Greetings, noble viewers. I am Mary from historic Dublin. The faithful people of Ireland cherish such kind-hearted friends as you and wish you abundant inspiration and bliss. We are delighted to have you join us for part one of our two-part series entitled William Butler Yeats, Ireland's Mystical Poetic Genius.
The mystical life is the center of all that I do and all that I think and all that I write. William Butler Yeats.
In the late 19th and early 20th century, at a time when Ireland was experiencing a growing sense of patriotism, writing became an important voice for Irish culture and identity. At the forefront of this Irish literary revival was William Butler Yeats, considered one of the greatest poets of the 20th century. His eloquent verses reflect a love of Ireland and mysticism and earned him the Nobel Prize in Literature. William Butler Yeats, also known simply as W.B. Yeats, was born June 13, 1865, in Sandymount of County Dublin, Ireland. His mother, Susan Mary Pollexfen, was from a wealthy family in the shipping business. His father, John Yeats, was a well-known painter. The Yeats were a tremendously artistic family. William's brother Jack grew up to become a notable painter, and his sisters Elizabeth and Susan Mary were involved in the arts and crafts movement. 2 years after William's birth, the Yeats relocated to England so that his father could further his career as an artist. The children were homeschooled with stories and Irish folk tales from their mother, and geography and chemistry lessons from their father. The family would continue to move back and forth between England and Dublin, and they spent their summers by the sea in Sligo of Western Ireland. With its verdant landscapes and magnificent coastal views, Sligo became William's childhood as well as spiritual home, his land of heart's desire. In 1877, William was enrolled at the Godolphin School, where biology and zoology became his favorite subjects. In high school, he spent a great deal of time in his father's art studio. There, he met many prominent artists and writers. He started writing poetry in the early 1880s as a teenager and believed that his life was an intellectual, spiritual, and artistic quest. These themes were constantly reflected in his work. 1885 was a crucial year for the young writer. His work was published for the first time with his poems and an essay entitled The Poetry of Sir Samuel Ferguson, appearing in the Dublin University Review. It was also the year he met famous Irishman John O'Leary, who encouraged William to produce poems based on Irish legends, ballads, and folklore. Between 1884 and 1886, William attended the Metropolitan School of Art, now the National College of Art and Design in Dublin. In 1886, he released 100 copies of his first self-published work, Mosada, a dramatic poem with the help of his father. This was followed by the collection The Wanderings of Oisin and Other Poems in 1889, based on the lyrics of the Fenian cycle of Irish mythology and the fictional narrative John Sherman and Doya in 1891. William Butler Yeats believed that the mind was capable of moving beyond the limits of materialistic reasoning, and he diligently pursued spiritual attainment. In 1890, he joined the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, whose principles and practices stemmed from esoteric teachings. Let's take a moment outside to enjoy the company of the colourful butterflies in the garden. We will be right back here on Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to William Butler Yeats, Ireland's Mystical Poetic Genius, Part 1 of 2. Although he is most known for his poetry, W.B. Yeats was more successful as a playwright than a poet in the early years of his career. His father's love of the theatre contributed greatly to William's lifelong interest in drama. William's plays reflect his philosophies on spiritualism and mysticism, and are also inspired by Irish legends. During his stay in London, William met and fell in love with Maud Gonne. Although she did not share the same feelings as William, the two would become longtime friends. They were both interested in occultism and spiritualism, as well as in Irish patriotism. Many of William's works would mention Maud, including the plays The Countess Kathleen, which was dedicated to her, and Kathleen Ní Húlaháin, in which she played the lead role. The Countess Kathleen, initially published in 1892, was his first play and follows a benevolent lady who dedicates herself to helping the underprivileged during a famine. This work would also be considered the inaugural play of the Irish literary revival. Interestingly, William Butler Yeats continued to revise the play multiple times until his final version in 1911. The Land of Heart's Desire was William Butler Yeats' first play to be performed professionally, and tells of a new bride who gets taken to fairyland. In his mid-20s, William went to study folklore in Western Ireland with his friend Lady Gregory Augusta. His poetic and spiritual inspiration came extensively from sources in Irish mythology and folklore, although he never learned Gaelic himself. William, together with Lady Gregory and her neighbour Edward Martin, staged the first of 3 annual Irish drama productions in Dublin in 1899. They later went on to create the Irish National Theatre Society, with William holding the post of president. The newly renovated Abbey Theatre became the home of the Society and opened on December 27, 1904. The Abbey Theatre Company took up most of William's time through the early 20th century. He would manage the plays and actors as well as arrange tours for the company. His plays have a simple, direct style of dialogue appropriate for the stage. William Yeats' dramatic style changed considerably after 1910. It became more poetic and esoteric. This change of style is particularly noticeable in his poem collections, The Green Helmet and Other Poems, in 1910, and Responsibilities in 1914.
Though leaves are many, the root is one. Through all the lying days of my youth, I swayed my leaves and flowers in the sun. Now I may wither into the truth. W.B. Yeats, The Coming of Wisdom with Time, from The Green Helmet and other poems.
William Butler Yeats spent time with American poet Ezra Pound as his secretary for some months in 1913. William was excited and influenced by the Japanese Noah plays that Ezra Pound was editing at that time. He began writing plays involving masks, dance, and music for small audiences. But it was his poems, such as those in Michael Robarts and The Dancer and The Tower, that made W.B. Yeats one of the most influential poets in the 20th century. Let's enjoy an excerpt of The Wild Swans at Coole, published in 1917.
Unwearied still, lover by lover, they paddle in the cold companionable streams, or climb the air. Their hearts have not grown old. Passion or conquest, wander where they will, attend upon them still. But now they drift on the still water, mysterious, beautiful. Among what rushes will they build? By what lake's edge or pool? Delight men's eyes when I awake someday to find they have flown away.
We conclude our show today with a beautiful adaptation of William Butler Yeats' poem Down by the Sally Gardens, set to the tune of traditional Irish song, The Moorlock Shore. The performance by the Greenwood Singers took place in the US in 2016 under the direction of Jeffrey Hudson. For more information on William Butler Yeats, please visit yatessociety.com. Blessed viewers, thank you for your delightful company today. Join us again on Friday, November 8th for part 2 of William Butler Yeats, Ireland's Mystical Poetic Genius.